The Sognefjord is the king of Norwegian fjords. With a length of 200 kilometers and a depth of 1300 meters, it is the longest and deepest of them all. From towering waterfalls and majestic glaciers to hidden valleys and iconic stave churches, there is so much more to see than Flåm and Gudvangen, which are visited by millions of tourists every year. And if you want to be on your own, we will show you the real hidden gems that you will not find in any other travel guide. The Sognefjord is located in western Norway, roughly northeast of Bergen. Due to its size, it has very distinctive regions. In the far west is the fjord coast with the islands of Sula and Bulandet. This is followed by the main basin where the fjord is at its widest. The northern shore is populated and has many towns, while the southern shore has little road access. And the fjord furthest from the sea has many arms surrounded by towering mountains and glaciers, such as the Fjord, the Lustrafjord, the Aurlandsfjeld, and the most famous of all, the Nærøyfjord. Each has its own unique landscape and history, so it's worth visiting them all. There are several ways to get to the Sognefjord. Many people either fly to Oslo and Bergen, and then take the train to Flåm and visit the area, but you will only see a small part of it. Another option is to take a cruise ship. You will see most of the main fjord, but when you go ashore, there will be thousands of other people with you. The most flexible way is to come by car, but if you don't want to or can't, there are buses and boats that will take you to most places. There are two boat lines which run from Bergen to either Flåm or Sogndal. The nearest major airport is Bergen, but you can fly to Oslo if it's more convenient. There is a small airport in Sogndal in the heart of the Sognefjord, but it is only serviced from Bergen and Oslo, and it's not the most affordable route. As this is an overview video, we will only briefly describe each location. Look out for the info cards in the top right, the links in the description, and the playlist for more detailed videos. We will cover the whole fjord, the well-known sites as well as the lesser-known places and hidden gems where only a few locals go. There are many hikes around the fjord to many different peaks, so we only mention the ones we have done, but there are many more. If anything is unclear or you need more information, please write in the comments and we will try to help as best we can. So let's start where everyone goes, Flåm, at the end of the Aurlandsfjord. There was nothing there until the famous railway line, the Flåmsbanen, was built in 1941. Then it became a railway station, a harbour and a hotel. The railway runs from the harbour in Flåm to Myrdal, where there are connections to Oslo and Bergen. There are many trains to Bergen, as the local trains end there. The journey from Flåm to Myrdal takes about 50 minutes. At Vettisfossen, you can get off the train and see the waterfall. During the high season, there is a show in front of the waterfall. The route is also popular for cycling. You can't drive to Myrdal and the nearby Vatnahalsen hotel by car. Unfortunately, Flåm is now everything that has gone wrong with mass tourism, as huge cruise ships with up to 6,000 passengers regularly dock there. All the businesses are geared towards this target group. Luckily, there aren't cruise ships every day, so if you're arriving by other means, check the Flåm Port Authority's website to see when the cruises dock so you can avoid the crowds. It can happen that certain train departures are fully booked with cruise tourists. The arrival of cruise ships is usually announced 6 to 12 months in advance. Check the link in the description. What most people do in Flåm is take the sightseeing boat through the Nærøyfjord to Gudvangen. Together with the Geirangerfjord, the Nærøyfjord is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Nærøyfjord is very narrow, and the narrowest part is 250 meters wide. The navigatable part is only 22 meters wide. The steep mountains on the sides are up to 1,760 meters high. The narrowness of the fjord prevents the cruise ships from entering. On the shore, there are two hamlets with no road access, Stevie and Dyrdal. The fjord used to be important on the route between Oslo and Bergen. The male was taken to Bakka, another hamlet closer to Gudvangen. It was then rowed to Lærdal, 45 kilometers away. There are many animals in and around the fjord, such as seals and small whales. Gudvangen is really small, and apart from the ferry and boat terminal, there was not much there originally. In 2017, the Viking village Njaderheim was built there. This is a small theme park museum about the Vikings. The route from Myrdal to Flåm by train, then by boat to Gudvangen, and then by bus to Voss is marketed as Norway in a nutshell, often abbreviated to NIN in online forums. This is not a new name, but has been used for decades. As 2 of the legs are on public transport lines, it is possible to book it yourself. Another option is to buy a package from a company such as Fjord Tours. On the western shore of the Aurlandsfjord are the small villages of Undredal and Fresvik. On the eastern shore is Aurland. Aurland is a crossroads if you want to head east away from the fjords. You can take Road 50 over Geiteryggen to Ål in Hallingdal, or take the E16 through the world's longest road tunnel, the 24.5 kilometer long Lærdal tunnel to Lærdal. The old road over Aurlandsfjellet is open during the summer months. Aurland itself is a small town. In recent years, however, more accommodation has been built to cater for tourists from Flåm. The town centre with its square, church and a few shops is quite small. Just behind it is the harbour, where the sightseeing boat and the express boat to Bergen dock. Aurland is known in Norway for the Aurland shoe factory, which produces slippers. Aurland sko is a Norwegian word that is synonymous with loafers. Just above Aurland is the Stegastein Viewpoint. From there you can see one of Norway's most famous views. Unfortunately, a lot of people go there, so there will be traffic jams on the small road leading there, as it is difficult to meet other cars, especially oversized campers. In high season you may not be able to park, so try to come early or late in the day if you can. For tourists without a car, there are bus tours from Flåm and Aurland, and if you don't want to drive, there's a hiking trail from Aurland, but it's quite steep. If you find that there are too many people up there, we have found another viewpoint where only a very small number of locals go. It's in plain sight of Stegastein and has a better view. Curious? We will tell you how to get there later in the video. If you continue towards Aurlandsfjellet after Stegastein, you will reach the starting point for Presten, a popular hike in the area to the top of that mountain. The road continues to Lærdal. This was the main summer road until 2000, when the Lærdal tunnel was opened. There are several places to stop along the road. The road is open from June until the first snow in September or October. Lærdal is a small town by the Lærdalfjord. It used to be an important ferry terminal from where you could take the ferry to Kaupanger and Gudvangen. The only attraction in the town is the Norwegian Wild Salmon Center. Further up the valley is Borgund Stave Church, Norway's most famous stave church. There is a small museum next to the church. The interior of the church can only be visited during the summer months. If you find the church romantic and want to get married there, you can only do so if you're from the area, or if the local community thinks you have a strong enough ties to it. For example, you've lived there for several years and speak the local dialect. From Lærdal, you can also walk the Kongevegen, the King's Road, over Filefjellet to Vang I Valdres. The route is 100 kilometers long and takes about 5 days to complete. If you don't want to walk the whole way, the route is divided into 13 easily accessible sections. We retrace our steps and head for the next arm of the fjord, the Årdalsfjord, at the end of which is the town of Årdal. Årdal consists of 2 parts, separated by a lake. Årdalstangen by the fjord and Øvre Årdal on the other side of the lake. Translated, this means Upper Årdal. On social media, you will often see people posting pictures of Årdal and labeling them as Odda. The picture is usually taken at the 1,000-meter viewpoint, which, as the name suggests, is 1,000 meters above Årdal on the old road. This road is closed to cars, and you can only walk or cycle to the viewpoint. There isn't much to see in Årdalstangen. There are a few places of interest in Årdal, but what people come to Årdal for is Vettisfossen, Norway's highest unregulated single-drop waterfall at 275 meters. There are even higher falls, but there is a kind of dam above the falls to regulate the flow as the water is used to generate electricity. There is a hike to the waterfall. It is often described as quick and easy. These guides refer to the lower viewing point, not the new viewing platform at the top of the waterfall. The walk is 15 kilometers in total with a 500 meters climb. A good part of it is on the gravel road through the Ultadalen valley to Vettigård, which is closed to regular motorized traffic. Allow 6 hours for the whole tour. From Årdal there is also a small mountain road called Kongevegen that leads to Turtagre on the Sognefjord road. There is a bus service on this road during the summer season. If you follow the road east up the mountain, you will arrive at Tyenkrysset, where you can walk to Eidsbugarden in Jotunheimen or continue to Fagernes in Valdres. We have many videos of both areas. But we are making a video about the Sognefjord, so we go back and take the ferry from Urnes to Mannheller. This is one of the most important ferries in Norway and runs 24 hours, 7 days a week. Don't expect it to be replaced by a bridge or tunnel anytime soon, as it's not technically possible to build such a megastructure at the moment, and it would cost far too much. After the ferry, you will arrive in Kaupanger. There you'll find another stave church. Most people come here to take the tourist car ferry across the fjord and through Nærøyfjord to Gudvangen. If you are traveling by car, this is the most efficient way to see the fjord. On the way you will pass Frønningen. This small place has no road access and is Norway's largest privately owned forest estate. A well-known site is the owner's large manor house. Close by is the world's longest free-hanging power line, almost 5 kilometers between two pylons. Sogndal Airport is also close by. If you're flying a drone, check the map to make sure you're not flying in the airport zone. Between Kaupanger and Sogndal is the Heilbergske Samling. This is an open-air museum with old houses like those in Oslo, Lillehammer or Fagernes. Sogndal is the main town in the area. It is best known for Lerum juice and jam factory, as this region is one of Norway's main fruit-producing areas, along with the Hardangerfjord. During the season, you will see small stalls selling fruit all along the road. Sogndal has a strong football culture with Sogndal IL. The stadium at Fosshaugandet campus has a capacity of 5,600, so there's room for almost everyone in town. The Norwegian Football League doesn't have a summer break, so if you're interested in football, go there. Sogndal doesn't have any tourist attractions in town, but as it's a center, there are plenty of shops if you need anything. Sogndal is an important crossroads, so our first choice is the Lustrafjord. This is the innermost arm of the Sognefjord. At the beginning, the road doesn't follow the fjord. The arm starts between Urnes and Årdal and is completely inaccessible from the land. Then you leave the RV55 and drive down to Solvorn, a small village by the fjord. From Solvorn, you can also take the ferry to Urnes. There you'll find Urnes Stave Church, the only stave church on the UNESCO World Heritage List. The ferry is the smallest in Norway and has only one entrance. Unfortunately, we have found the crew to be quite rude on several occasions over several years. We have heard similar stories from other people and locals. If you have an unpleasant experience, please contact the operator Lustrabåtene and describe your experience. The Stave Church is located just above the town. What makes it unique is the carving on the side of the entrance gate and the paintings inside the church. It's also one of the oldest stave churches, with parts dating back to the 11th century. The interior of the church can be visited from May to September. Along the fjord is a very narrow road with typical Norwegian tunnels with no lights and water dripping from the ceiling. A few kilometers north of Urnes is Feigumfossen, another unregulated single-drop waterfall, which at 218 meters is the second highest after Vettisfossen. Luckily, it's much closer to the road. The path is only 1 kilometer long. The hike there and back takes about an hour. Just before Skjold is Lerum Museum. This is where the jam factory used to be, before it moved to Sogndal. It's only open during the Norwegian summer holidays and on selected weekends. The end of the fjord is at Skjolden. It's a small village. There is a large hotel and cruise ships dock here. If you continue on Road 55, you will cross Sognefjord, Norway's highest mountain pass, and arrive in Flåm. The highest mountain near Skjold is Fannaroki, where you'll find Norway's highest D&T cabin. Many of Norway's highest peaks are also close to Sognefjord. Returning to the other side of the fjord, you will pass the village of Luster and then Gaupne. Gaupne is like the main town in Lustrafjord, with shops, hotels and a public swimming pool. From Gaupne you can drive up to Jostedal, where there are many glaciers, such as the Nigardsbreen, and there are guided glacier walks on some of these glaciers. In the pictures you can see the Nigardsbreen from the car park. Due to global warming and the subsequent melting of the glaciers, this is no longer possible. There is a trail to the glacier if you just want to see it from up close, but always stay behind the safety lines. People have died after crossing them, and part of the glacier has collapsed on them. Glaciers are not static, they move quite fast, about a meter a day. The Nigardsbreen has melted quite a lot. At the turn of the millennium, it still reached the lake and was not far from the boat jetty. 25 years later, it takes well over an hour to walk to it. One glacier that has not yet been affected by global warming is the Årdal glacier, which sits at an altitude of 1500 meters. It's one of the few glaciers that ends in a lake and forms icebergs. It's possible to visit it by kayak across the lake. See our video. All these glaciers come from one huge ice cap, the Jostedalsbreen, which is the largest of its kind in Europe. Due to the nature of the glacier, it's not really accessible, and getting there is reserved for the most experienced mountain hikers. If you continue south from Gaupne, you will pass Nærøyfjord. Then you pass Hafslo, where the Hafslo Waterfall lake is located. The lake is known for its good fishing, and the Sogn Alpine Ski Center is nearby. There is also a lot of agriculture. Following the road to the end of the valley, you will come to the Austerdal glacier. Eventually you will come back to Sogndal. From Sogndal, take route 5 to Fjærland. To the north of Fjærland, you can see Bøyabreen, another branch of Jostedalsbreen. There is a small side road, and then you have to walk about 200 meters to the lake to get the best view. Fjærland also has a glacier museum where you can learn all about glaciers. They have an interactive exhibition and a panoramic film of the different glaciers, including the top of Jostedalsbreen. The village itself is a little further down the fjord. Fjærland is a book town, which means that there are many places where you can buy second-hand books and other media. Here you will also find the old ferry terminal, as until the 1980s, Fjærland could only be reached by ferry, and only in 1990 was there a road to Sogndal. Next to the church is Hotel Mundal, another historic hotel. It's famous for having been visited by the former US Vice President Walter Mondale, whose ancestors came from Mundal. Mundal is another name for Fjærland. We visited the hotel in 2017. Shortly after, renovation work began, as the interior was still as it was in the 1900s. Unfortunately, the cost got out of control very quickly, so it was left as a building site. According to the owner, it will be reopened one day, but none of the locals believe it. From Sogndal, we continue our journey along the fjord on Road 13. We have many videos about the southern part of the road in Hardanger and Ryfylke. You then pass Fimreite, where a major naval battle was fought during the Viking Age. Next you pass Hermansverk and Leikanger, two small towns. Just before the Fjords-stretching branches off, you pass Kvinnefossen, another high waterfall right by the road. Then you reach the ferry terminal in Helland. There you can choose to cross over to Vik and follow Road 13, or, as we did, continue to Balestrand on Road 55. Balestrand is one of the most famous towns at the Sognefjord. The most famous landmark is Kviknes Hotel, another historic hotel. During its long history, the hotel has hosted many famous guests and important historical events. The German Emperor Wilhelm II was here on holiday at the outbreak of the First World War. Also in Balestrand is the Norwegian Tourism Museum, where you can learn about the history of traveling to and in Norway. There are two ways to continue your journey: the road along the fjord or the road over the Gaularfjellet mountain. Historically, the road went over Gaularfjellet because it was easier to travel by water than to build a road on the fjord slopes. The first part follows the Vettisfossen. During the COVID period, this fjord was used to store ships for long periods until shipping began to pick up again. The road to the top of Gaularfjellet has 9 hairpin bends, but as there's less traffic here than in Stegastein, it's not too difficult to drive. At the top, there is a panoramic viewpoint. On the other side is Fossestien, the waterfall trail. These are 2 trails with a total length of 21 kilometers, passing 14 different waterfalls. Some of the waterfalls are more like rapids in the river than classic waterfalls. The trail is not too difficult as it's not too steep. If you don't use the shuttle service from the campsite at Hov, you have to walk both ways on the same trail or walk a long way on the road. You will reach Lavik by continuing on the E39. This is a small village, but there is a very important ferry crossing of the road between Bergen and Trondheim. As such, the ferry runs 24/7. Next to the ferry terminal is Lavik Fjord Hotel. If you are traveling with a little boy, you should stay there so he can watch the cars being loaded and unloaded throughout the whole day and night. From here you can travel to Bergen, or continue along the fjord and visit the islands of Sula and Ytterstula, which is Norway's westernmost point. You reach these islands by taking the ferry from Rysjedalsvika or Rutledal. This is an area mostly ignored by tourists, but you will experience a unique landscape. We have a video about them, as well as one about the boat trip from Harbakke to Bulandet, which is one of the most beautiful boat trips in Norway. In our case, we turn back and follow the fjord eastwards. Just before Vadheim, we drove up to a valley called Guddal. This is a very remote place, rarely visited by tourists. It's not a dead end, and if you continue, you'll reach Road 57. Continuing along the fjord brings you to Høyanger. This is an industrial town at the end of a side arm of the fjord, like Årdal, Sauda and Odda. Aluminium is produced here. There is a large public swimming pool and a small industrial museum, which is only open during the Norwegian summer holidays and on selected weekends. But how do we get to the other side? Obviously there is the ferry in Lavik, but you can also go back to Balestrand and take the ferry there. And there is one of Norway's most elusive ferries, which runs from Nordeide, just south of Høyanger, over Ortnevik to Vik on the other side. It runs this stretch only a few times a week, so you have to plan carefully if you want to use it on your road trip. Luckily, it drove the day we were there. There are only 8 places for cars, but you can book in advance. The ride goes over Morn, a small hamlet without road access to Orkneyvik. From Orkneyvik, there is a small road to Årdal where you reach E39. But we continued along the south shore. From time to time, the ferry stopped and some people left to go to their cabin. So we finally reached Vik. Vik is the only major town on the southern shore of Sognefjord, but at this place the fjord makes a bend. In Vik there is a stave church, the Hopperstad Stavkirke, which can be visited during the summer season. If continuing on road 13 over the Vikafjellet, you reach Voss. Vikafjellet is known to have a lot of snow. In some snow-rich winters, it snowed so much that people could not find their cabins anymore, as they covered up to the roof with snow. The fjord around Vik was also the scene of the Submarine Hunt of November 1972. During that month, an alleged submarine was sighted. As it was the Cold War, the Norwegian Navy sent out several warships to search for the submarine, but nothing was found. In 2012, documents were declassified stating that a submarine had indeed been sighted, but it could not be determined who it belonged to. You remember this viewpoint over the Nærøyfjord we told at the beginning? To get there, drive from Vik to Fresvik along the fjord. Then you need to drive up the mountain to a place called Skjolden. Then follow a 6-kilometer hike over a barely marked trail, then an unmarked trail, and finally non-trail at all. Here at Skomakarnipa, you will have one of the most impressive views over the Sognefjord. At the making of the video, it was a real hidden gem, as only very few locals went there. So if you want to go there, watch our video so you don't get lost. So now we have reached the place where we started. If you watched the video so far, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on any new videos. While these are made, maybe watch one of these interesting videos to learn about Norway.